Hi, fourth grade. Today we are talking about irregular verbs. Okay, and I know that we went over this in class before, so this is kind of just a review. Okay, so I'm going to read what it says here on the screen, right? What are irregular verbs? Regular verbs add ed to show past tense. But now here comes what we're talking about. Irregular verbs change their spelling in the simple past tense. Memorize the past tense forms of irregular verbs and use and spell them correctly in your own writing. And that's very important. It says also memorize the correct spelling of high frequency words as they do not follow a spelling pattern. So let's take a look at this. What are they really talking about? Okay. So I'm going to read to you what the screen says. A plain old regular verb, remember a verb is an action word, something like pick or walk. You see that here in the green, right? If I want to say the past tense of picked, all I say is picked. I add an ed. Super simple, works out great. The past tense of walk, all I have to do is add an ed, walked, right? But this is what they're talking about, an irregular verb. It is not normal. You're not going to just add an ed like the other ones, okay? So look at no. No turns to new. Go, you please don't say goed. Sometimes you hear like the little babies talking like that. I go to the store or something like that. And that's okay, they're babies. You just correct them and move on. But we know an irregular verb is said different. We can't say goed, we say went. Completely different spelling. Look at take. Take turns to took. That's why it's irregular. It does not follow the pattern that a regular verb will follow. You cannot just add ed to these words, okay? So what I did here is I went back to your story, Trombone Shorty, right? And this story took place in the past, okay? If a story is taking place in the past, you need to have your verbs past tense and making sure that you keep all of them past tense. You can't change tenses throughout the story, and I think we talked about that sometime in the year too. So here, I'm looking through the story. It says, but first I needed an instrument. Needed, I hear that ed at the end, that tells me past tense. The great thing about music is that you don't even need a real instrument to play. So my friends and I decided, look at that again, decided, that tells me past tense, right? He just added the ed, regular verb, but then watch what happens. The author knew that this story is in the past, so the author added those ed words, but he came to an irregular verb. Watch. We might have sounded different from the real brass bands, but we felt like the greatest musicians of Treme. Right here, this word felt. You can't say field, right? We might have sounded different from real brass bands, but we feeled like the greatest? No, that's not going to work. So feel is an irregular verb. You can't say field, you would have to say felt. The author knew in this story as they wrote, they had to continue the story in past tense and add ed to regular verbs, but made the spelling change on an irregular verb just like